All right, here we are at the Spiritual Care Network at Positive Recovery Center. We've got a meeting going on, and here are
Hey, friends!
Eric and Kevin. Kevin is the owner of this location, and Eric is the director of Spiritual Care Network.
And
so,
tireless.
Yes.
Tireless.
And we've got
Who is that dude?
Edmundo, whom I haven't seen in a while. Yes, and
The famous Mundo.
and here we go. We've got lots of people coming, lots and lots of people. So, for this place, it's a full house. So we're gonna get started today. We're gonna have Brandon White talk about the importance of self-care in for providers of care, and that is very fitting for this month, which is the self-care month, I believe. I think it's the National Self-Care Month. But anyway, I'll talk to you again later. Bye.
My name is Brandon, and I am a drug addict and an alcoholic in recovery. My sobriety date is 3/25 of 21.
Awesome.
I've been sober for 4.5 years, and I as well spent 15 years of my life in prison, in and out, due to my disease. So just to go back a little bit, I kind of want to talk about self-care, but I want to talk about a little bit about my past, just a little bit. So you understand how I hated myself, I treated myself bad, from the childhood traumas, all the things that happened to me, as a young kid, and what it resulted to with my active drug use. So first off, I had a rough childhood. Home was not the loving home. There was a lot of physical, mental abuse that happened to me. I was molested 2 different times as a child. That broke my spirits. If it wasn't already bad enough at home with an alcoholic dad, verbally abusing, mentally abusing, physical abuse, then I get molested, 2 different occasions, 8 and 10 years old. One was a male form. I remember that. And I'm open with this because the more that I talk about it, the more freedom I get. Like the more peace that I get and the more that God just flows through my veins. So, childhood was rough for me, so, at the age of 11, I started drinking. I took my first drink of alcohol. That was going to be me. That was going to drown all that nasty shit out that was going on with me. I didn't have to feel no more. So that repeated itself. My alcoholism progressed into drugs, and, it's a progressive disease. In my personal journey, what I learned, it's a progressive disease, and it spiraled out of control. And, I hit the streets at an early age, where it wasn't just alcohol or drugs, it was womanizing, it was lying, it was manipulating. It was being a very cruel human being, but the majority of it was that I was really cruel to myself. I never gave myself grace. Never did. I didn't know what that looked like. So fast forward, 17 years old, I get sentenced to a 7-year sentence for organized crime. And I'm 17 years old. I'm that broken little boy that had that childhood trauma that goes into prison, not even shaving. I'm not even shaving nothing off my face yet. I'm going into that place. And I remember how scared I was, but you can't show it. So that turned me even more into a monster, where I had pride, I had ego, I had an image, all these things that played a part in it, so that repeated itself for over 30 plus years. Last time I got out of prison in 2017, and I've never been back. But while I was in prison, I started getting in tune, and I really started grabbing at something. I had these hopes, these dreams, I had these visions. I'm like, I just want a simple life. I want a simple family. I want a simple house. I want a simple car, simple job. I want healthy home. I used to see, things on TV while I was in prison, and it was these families that were happy in the movie that I watched. And I wanted it. I wanted exactly what they had. So it just repeated itself over and over again. I got out in 2017. And mind you, I work a 12-step program. That's the only reason that I'm here right now. 12-step program, and the God of my understanding came into my life, and my whole life shifted. I don't live the same life anymore. So coming in, I gave it my all because I was that broken little boy. I was defeated. I was hopeless. I was at a spot where I did not want to be alive anymore. Here I am in my 40s now. 40 years old. I'm fixing to be 47 next month. 9/11/78, 47 years old. But in my 40s, I had absolutely nothing. I had no money. I had no car. I had the only thing that I had was the guys that I had met in my 12-step program that took me to a nonprofit organization. It's in the middle of Houston. It's called the 24-Hour Club. It's off of Airline and Lyerly. That's where my life began. I really started to dig deep. I had a lot of willingness. I surrendered. Surrendered. For the first time in my life, I surrendered to somebody that was sitting in front of me that was my higher power, because I didn't know what God looked like. I'm a strong believer in God, 100% today. But I had a spiritual awakening. I started working those 12 steps. My life started to get better. And I remember having that first spiritual awakening where I'm at this picnic table and we are sitting outside, and I remember looking down and I seen these two squirrels and they were playing, and I thought that was the most precious thing I'd ever seen in my life. And I look up and everything's so green, the sun's shining. I, for the first time, was high off life, and I wanted to see more. And so I continued to do what they told me to do. I was in the solution of my own personal recovery, and I didn't give up. I kept going. And then I started helping others. I started helping other human beings that were coming in just like me with the same process that helped me get sober. So what I can say, I have been working in the recovery field since 2022. I came in, I first started my journey working at Magnolia City Detox as a tech working on the floor. And one of the things that it got brought to my attention, just because you work in recovery is not your recovery. Mm-hmm. It is not your recovery. Not at all. So I started to listen to what the old timers were telling me. These are my mentors and guys that I really look up to, and these are the guys that I would look at in the way that they carried themselves, the way that they walked, the way that they talked. All of those things were very attractive to me. And so I started to listen to everything that they told me. And not long after that, I found myself, getting in a situation because I'm stuck, in a detox facility for 10 to 12 hours. And I'm getting restless, irritable, and discontent. And it carried on. And then my 12-step program started to slip away from me. I walked away from that job. I walked away from that job because personally, I fight for my own personal recovery, my peace, my spiritual part of my program, and I'm selfish. I'm gonna be selfish for those things. So I get this role, where I open up these sober livings, which are very successful today, Azul House Sober Living. And we hold 30 men. We've got 30 men at this place. And so along those lines and that journey that I was going through, I started to understand more and more about, as long as I am putting myself and my recovery first and getting my cup full, I can feed people. One of the things that I constantly learn in this deal is that if I'm not getting fed, I can't go feed. I can't. But what it also has taught me is boundaries. Boundaries, boundaries, boundaries. I cannot stress that enough. Like, my schedule that I have right now, I can just tell you, I wake up at 4:30 in the morning. My phone is on silent. I hit the gym at 5. I hit a 6:30 12-step meeting. And I start my day at 7:30, 8 o'clock. And when it comes to a certain time during the day, when it comes that evening time, 7 o'clock, I'm putting my phone on silent. Because my phone, I can let you look at the text messages and the missed calls on there. I don't care. I really don't. At the end of the day, the more that I try to invest in trying to save everybody in the whole world, I'm gonna lose myself. And that's one thing I had to learn the hard way, because there was a lot of moments in my personal recovery and in my work where I was ready to throw all of this in and go work a regular 9-to-5 job and just focus on my recovery, until a few men sit me down and said, absolutely not. Like, God put you in this position for a reason. Like, don't give up your hopes and your dreams because you want to kick and stomp your feet. Those are the things that those guys tell me. And so I continue to just carry it on. Just going back in that past, like how I was nasty to myself for over 30 plus years, constantly over and over and over again, to where I get to this spot where I'm at right now. Waking up, one thing I will tell you, by putting myself first, by putting my sobriety and my God first, like, it's created like this, it's way bigger than me. And it put me in positions where I am a face of a company, a really good brand, a Rise Recovery. I work with a Rise Recovery Centers. We do the same thing that Katie and Kevin do. And we've got several locations all over as well. But for those guys to want to invest in me to be a face of their company and knowing the things that I did, that's miracles. So that makes me fight harder for myself. The only way I could do this is if I'm constantly trying to better myself. Like, I'm very big about self-care. Like, self-care is so huge to me. Like, one of the things I can tell you that I do for self-care is, I get the massages, man. Oh my God, I get the massages. I've never hit massages the way that I hit massages now. I get those massages nowadays. I meditate for 20 minutes with a guided meditation. Every night when I go to bed, me and my other half, which that relationship that I'm in right now, I built that in sobriety, where it's a healthy home. Like, all of our kids have a safe place. There is no arguing, there is no fighting. It's just completely zen and peaceful. That is a miracle. Like, so all these little things that are going on, in my life, like, that I pay attention to, it makes me want to strive to seek more peace, to seek that self-care part that we talk about. We're on the front lines. The things that we do with mental health and substance abuse, man, it's a lot. And it will take a toll. Like, it takes a toll on me. I'm going to use I statements. I don't know about you guys. I'm going to use I. It takes a toll on me. Like it can't if I let it. That's the only way. So, I constantly try to, do better for myself. Prayer. I'm real big about prayer. I'm real big about those Sunday services. That was one thing that I never was big in. I didn't know a God. I didn't understand what that looked like until I came in and I sat down and I surrendered. And then God came into my life. And then from that point on, I believe the spirit of the universe. Like there's so many different beliefs that I got right now, and everything is all spiritual. Like the more that I am tapping in spiritually, the more that I get to feed out into the public, into people that are the ones that are struggling with that alcoholism, that drug addiction, that mental health. But what I can tell you, like I was just talking about that phone, I have built a contact list in my phone that's vicious. It's vicious. There are so many different contacts that I have met since 2022 up until now, and they're all over. Every state that you can think of, I've got contacts. And it's all connected to helping somebody in substance abuse, mental health, like anybody that's struggling, that's the deal. So the more that I invest in myself, the more that I am trying to get spiritually connected, the more that God just provides for me personally. I couldn't do this without you guys. Like we have a community, like Andre, like Eric, like Brooke, Katie is our newest one, like Mundo. Like we have a community, like of business development, community liaisons that stick together very close. And guess what we get to do? We get to talk as friends amongst each other, and we get to share, man, I'm off today. I don't know what's going on. And guess what? That other person on that other side of the phone is going to say, hey, I got you. Let's figure out the solution. Solution. Like we're all on the front lines. And to be honest with you, I've made some of the best friends that I could possibly meet working in this field. And most of us are in recovery and some not, but even the ones that are not, like, are golden, because I was trapped in a box for my first year of sobriety. So my first year of sobriety, the only people I knew was people in sobriety. I didn't know anybody else, and frankly, I had to change people, places, and things. That was the only thing I knew. And then God said, okay, well, here you go. We're going to introduce you to some people outside of your area. But guess what those people did? When I first started working as a business development, those people took me in. They put me under their wing, and they said, we got you. And they started flooding me with contacts. And they started teaching me all the things that I needed to be taught. And I also have these guys I could reach out to, where I'm struggling, like I'm a high believer, like you have to put yourself first in this deal. You cannot. I go down a rabbit hole a lot on my phone trying to help another addict get into treatment, IOP, sober living. And here recently, probably the last 6 months to a year, I've came to a point where I can't make them, and I disconnect from the situation. Disconnect has been the biggest thing for me, because what it allows me to do is also set that boundary where I'm working on myself and I'm finding the true value within myself. But it allows me that next one that's waiting on me, that needs to get in, that wants to get in, I can get them in. So I highly recommend, like I know I don't have this thing figured out. I'm just gonna be honest. Like it says it right here. There's somewhere honesty right there. Bravery's another one, but honesty's the key. Like what I was taught at the very, very beginning of this deal, honesty. Without that, like, I don't know where I'd be. I'd probably be back in prison, I'm sure. And today I get to live a life like way outside of the rim that I could have ever imagined. Like the miracles that are constantly happening, in my life. One thing I'll share about you know, how I've really focused on that self-care part for me. You know, working out is big too. I've got to say, for my mental health, I've got to be working out at least 3 to 4 days a week where I'm doing something for me. That has been the biggest blessing of all. And I notice getting away from those things for me personally, I start to get in my head. It starts to really take over. But that working out piece for me, like I'm able to burn calories, I'm able to get the sweat, like the blood's pumping, everything's flowing. Like this morning, I got up at 4:30, workout at 5, hit that meeting. Dude, I'm on fire right now. Like I am literally on fire right now. Like, so it's just those little tweaks, I believe, you know, like in yourself with just like the foundation, the schedule that you create for yourself. You know, like at night, you know, like I'm sure y'all get calls late at night. Man, cut that phone off, man. Cut that phone off. Listen, I'm a go-getter. At the end of the day, come 7:30 till 6 p.m., I'm a go-getter. But when 6 p.m. comes, I'm cutting the phone off, and guess what I get to do? I get to be with the blessings that God gave me, the family. And I get to be present with them. Family is self-care for me too, man. Like healthy home that got built in this whole deal of sobriety and, you know, like really focusing on my own personal journey. Like, it's crazy. You know, communication. Having kids, you know, where I'm going to football games now. We've got a 7th grader, you know, like that's been hard. Okay, we got a 7th grader and we got a 9th grader that's a cheerleader. So a freshman cheerleader and a 7th grade football player. These schedules ain't lining up. They're not, but guess what? I get to choose what I do. I get to choose for myself how I react on that situation, because I'm extreme. I've let this job, because of my extremeness. One thing about an alcoholic or an addict, we're very, very, very extreme, and you got to be careful on that. Like if you have that extremeness, you know, y'all know what that extremeness is. Like if you've got that extremeness, like you got to understand how to dial it down. You got to just stop. You know, like stop in the car. You know, like do that meditation, or just, dude, there's a lot of times I do a lot of driving. I won't have the radio on and I would just be in dead silence, just trying to clear my mind. I did that on the way, well, I started to do that on the way until the phone started ringing. And I'm like, okay, well, God's got a plan. I'm just gonna stick to the plan. But meditation, you know, like getting connected, those massages, working out, family for me, man. Family's huge. Boundaries. You can't have self-care if you're not setting boundaries. That's what I've learned in this deal since 2022. I didn't have boundaries before. And I was up till 1, 2, 3 in the morning, squabbling with another alcoholic on the phone, trying to force this guy to get in instead of just shutting it off and saying, okay, you know, like I'm getting in God's way if I continue to do that. I understand that now. So the more that I invest in myself, you know, like with for everybody it's different. You know, everybody has a different journey. You gotta find your niche. You gotta find what fits. You know, like I wanna say that I've got the perfect formula for myself. Well, I could probably have that for the next 2 weeks and it'll be bumped off somewhere. But it's not perfect. You know, like it's definitely not perfect. You know, but there is a solution, you know, where I understand that. You know, like for me too, you know, of self-care. I've got this men's group, you know, that I go to twice a week. You know, like being around strong-minded men that all have love, respect, the unity for one another, like it's power in itself, even for women. You know, like a women's group. You know, like I know we got women in here. Stick with the women. Those women, like there's power, just like for us men. You know, like there's all kinds of men's group, all kinds of women's group. Anything that you're doing to invest in yourself, like highly recommended. Like there's no way I could do this. There's no way I could be where I'm at right now if it wasn't for me latching on to certain individuals, and they were all men, and they were guiding me. I had my hand in their pocket. Literally, I had my hand in their pocket because I was that scared little boy that didn't understand how to live life on life's terms. I had no clue. But now I can tell you, I'm here to report, you know, like by being, you know, like surrounded by those good men that have that aura of nothing but peace flowing around them. Now I understand finances. You know, like I understand, you know, I purchased my first car in 2022, ever. I've never had a vehicle. Like, so the self-care that I was getting off of them, like in the teaching that I was getting off of them, the better I was getting, you know, the house that I'm in right now. We've been in that house for a year and a half. December would be 2 years. I'm on the lease of that house. I have no clue other than God. It was straight God that did that. There's no way I should be on that lease. Convicted felons, and I'm grateful for that because I feel like somewhere in there that cycle's being broken. You know what, that man, if there's any questions that I can answer, like I would love to, you know, like answer them if I can. Like I don't know all the answers. I could be honest about that. But if there's any questions that I could, you know, answer that you guys got, you know, anything that's on your mind, like. I think this is what we do too. You know, we talk about the honesty, right? You know, it opens the floor up to say, well, man, I'm struggling with this. You know, like, dude, I struggle every day. Every day I struggle. You know, the struggle is real. You know, like, I am in my 40s and I pay bills for the first time, and I just started doing that a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. You know, so, I mean, the struggle is real. And that's why honesty is the key. You know, like talking about those things, you know, like we're on the front line, guys. You know, like every day we're on the front line trying to help other human beings. You know, like the more that we're doing this, the more power, for me, the more power that I have to give out. You know, and that's what I want to do because why? Because I'm very, very passionate about helping another human being that's struggling with alcohol and drugs and mental health. Because I know what it did for me personally. Like in 4.5 years, my whole life has 180. 180. I used to I couldn't stand talking in front of people. Like it wasn't my thing. Like I never wanted to talk in front of people. I'm like, I don't want to be around that big group. And now I'm talking around a whole bunch of people at different events. Like, because I'm honest and I don't really care. I don't really care anymore. Like, take me as I am, you know, like just take me as I am, you know, like I'm just trying to do the best that I can, you know, like I am honest, you know, even if it's the hard honest part, I'm going to be honest about that, you know, but I'm also going to be real about who I am, you know, as the individual I am, and, you know, who God has allowed me to be, you know, at the end of the day. But with that, man, I'll open it up to you guys. If y'all got anything, by all means.
One thing that you said, I just recently learned, and I've been doing this for a while too, is that we can talk to someone, but you know, we all know until someone's ready, they're not gonna come to treatment. And I've been caught in that trap too of just talking myself, you know, and I'm not an interventionist. I am here to find treatment. So I've found myself having the ability to make that that boundary of saying, look, when you're ready, I'm here.
Yeah.
And it hurt to say that sometimes because I wanted them to, you know, I could hear the family in crisis and the family wants it so bad, but the person's just resistant. You know, I call my intervention friends and say, if you want to use this person, great, and when they're ready, I'm here. So that does take away a lot of the stress we have is knowing where our role ends, starts and ends.
Yeah.
You know, they're all different for each one of us.
Yeah.
But that's some wisdom that at my age, I just really now in the past 6 months, you know, I can't keep chasing these people. I can live on here and be, you know, have unconditional love for them, and when they call me and they're ready, then that'll be the time.
Our job is to plant the seed.
Yeah.
We plant the seed, then everything else just.
And I remember the first time I met this gentleman.
She had me crying.
I mean, like, I thought he was this tough guy, you know, and I told one of my personal stories, and I looked over and he got these big crocodile tears in his eyes. I was like, oh my gosh, you're so soft and gentle and sweet. I said, I'm so sorry. So that was the first time we met.
We were.
Didn't know you were convicted. Don't
Yeah.
at that point.
Yeah.
Don't care.
Yeah, it was an awesome. That was an awesome day.
Yeah.
She's got a story. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. You're gonna cry. If you're a crier, listen, I've been crying for 4.5 years, and I don't even care. I really do not care. If you walked in the shoes that I walked in, like for over 30 plus years, like I got so much gratitude right now. Like I have so much gratitude. Like, man, I don't know. That's all. It's open to you guys for real, man. Like any comments, any questions?
Any comments or questions, people?
Only thing, Brenda, I mean, brother, it has been just such a blessing to see you, bro. I am just, it is a blessing. You are definitely walking in the peace and what he has for you. One question that I had is as it relates to taking care of ourselves in this, industry of what we do, how important would you say, finding your own hobbies or finding your own enjoyment of something, not including everybody else,
Yeah.
just you, whatever that. Now you had spoke about the massage and you spoke about you go work out. But how important is that? I think because for me that's what's helping me. I have to find my own hobby. What is my hobby that does not include anyone else?
Mhm.
It's just what I'm good enough to do.
I think it's like one of the number one. Like it's to yourself, or it might be with a group of guys. If y'all are playing softball, you got a softball league or whatever. I think that is like number one key. Like is having a hobby. Like having something outside of family, work, even 12-step recovery. There's a lot of times for me personally, I was at home from 5 p.m. yesterday to 10 p.m. Do you know how I ate that up? I ate that up. I had my dog that was next to me, and it was complete peace, just everywhere. Not to say that my house is chaos, not at all. I'm not trying to give that bad vibe off. We got a safe home, but it was just me and the dog. And dude, I had the TV going, but I'm not even watching the TV and just enjoying like the life right there at that moment, in the moment. Like I was living in the moment from 5 p.m. to 10, and they get home and she's asking like, what did you do while we're gone? I'm like, I didn't do absolutely nothing. I just sat here and I just chilled.
And it was everything.
And it was the best. And it was the best. Yeah, it was great.
Did it take a while for you to allow the serenity? I mean, you speak with such relief, but like I think the hustle mentality, stay busy, gotta do something, has been, stepping into this space has what next to how, it's just there's so much to be done.
It's
So
a lot for a new person.
Did it take those things to get the allowance of serenity, or?
Well, I did get at the beginning, for me, and Andre knows me from the very beginning, because he worked at Matthews Hope, and I just started, at that sober living, and I had no clue what I was doing. First off, and the guy asked me, like, hey, do you want to do some marketing? This was the owner of that house. You want to do some marketing? I'm like, absolutely. All I did know is I loved people. And that is what I did. I was super uncomfortable, and I was super extreme. And there was a lot of times within that first 6 months, I got restless, irritable, and discontent. And then I would run my butt back into like what that solution looked like. You know, like everybody's solution's different. You know, I know mine, I had to run back into my 12-step program, and I had to sit across from somebody and I had to walk them to the 12 steps to get fed. I had to be of service. You know, I had to work a coffee bar. I worked that coffee bar. Yeah, I mean, I went and cleaned the bathrooms, you know, like at my 12-step group, you know, like, and I didn't talk about it. I'm talking about it now because I'm trying to give some knowledge about the service part. Service. You know, like, I didn't even mention service. Like, service has been a huge part for me. Service. I want to tell you that. It's going to be uncomfortable, but you're going to do great. You got solid foundations. You got good people. Kevin, you got a whole crew of good people. Julie.
Oh, I'm lucky.
Justin. You know,
Good
like,
stuff.
Justin Steen.
yeah, y'all got great people. You know, they're gonna take care of you.
You got a great Houston
But this-
community,
well,
right?
that's
Like
it.
that's the coolest
Pick
part
that-
is that watching you speak on fire and
Yeah, pick
meeting
that
all of
phone
you guys
up.
just
You know, pick
with
the phone
heart.
up too. Pick the phone up, call somebody. You know, like, the more that you keep it in, the more that it's gonna explode. I don't know. I want to get it out.
Yeah, I've found too, the more I keep it in, the more it creates a buffer between me connecting with everyone else.
Yeah.
Which antagonizes the problem.
Yeah.
Right? It makes it worse. So it's an isolative process that just doesn't work.
Yeah. Right.
Well, I would like to ask a question, and that is, for each and every one of you sitting here, what do you guys do for self-care?
One wheel. One wheel.
Okay.
It's a skateboard that's electric.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
That's awesome.
I
Okay.
didn't know if that was
He's
like-
had many accidents too.
It's worth it though.
That's where you start caring.
It's worth it though.
When the self-care turns into caring for 'em.
Anyone else care
My
to
name
share?
is Muldan. I'm an alcoholic, an addict. I did this for a while, and like I remember when Brandon first came in the field too. You know, it was on fire, and I just know for myself personally, I ran myself ragged in this industry. You know, I did speaking engagements, I did leads, I was constantly here, Austin, San Antonio, Dallas, 7 days a week I was working, and I found no time for myself, right? And then what happened was my personal life fell apart because a lot to do with me not giving any attention to that personal life, and I ended up getting a divorce, and it broke me because I was married for 27 years. It broke me, and then everything came to a halt because for me it was all or nothing, you know. So it went from just being out every day in the community, serving my community, getting people into treatment, to me hiring my son, whom y'all met, Junior, and telling him, hey son, I need you to take care of this because I need to take care of myself right now. And I did that for over a year, and I isolated, and I was in a really, really dark place. So I 100% agree with what Brandon has said about finding your boundaries and putting your self-care at the forefront of your treatment adventures, I guess you would say. Not necessarily your own recovery. I'm talking about self-care. Like that is huge. You know, when I first started, and I was with a company called Seacrest. This is in 2017. Remember that? I had a routine every day that required me to do before I even stepped into work. And I was boxing, working out. You know, I was. It wasn't about my meetings. Yeah, my recovery was urgent in my life, but my self-care was just as important, because without my recovery, without my self-care, you know, one thing I got disconnected with was my higher power. Because I didn't have anything else from me to truthfully, I had nothing else left to give, right? So I had to get my recovery. If I don't have my recovery, I can't help other people. You know, it tells me, one of the most important commandments, a dude came up to God and he said, God, out of all the commandments, what's the royal commandment? And he said, love your God with all your heart, with all your might, and with all your soul. But the second is just as important, meaning equal to love your neighbor as yourself. So I thought it was a two-piece commandment. I thought it was like, love God with everything, love your neighbor. The most important part was ask myself, how can I love my neighbor if I look in the mirror and I'm not happy? How can I love my neighbor as somebody that I see is broken and isolated and divorced, and now I feel like a piece of crap? You know, I can't. I'm not capable. So thank God, by some of my friends here, I've been able to get slowly back out into the industry and try to put my God first, my recovery, and then my self-care before anything else.
We're gonna keep you on the leash.
Yeah.
We're gonna keep you on the leash.
You know, one thing we hadn't talked a lot about is the pressure cooker that we're in with our companies. And I was in the acute care world with these big companies for over 30 years, and it was just like, you're only good as yesterday, really.
Yeah.
You know,
Absolutely.
and Andre and I worked for those companies, and we were not encouraged at that point to be honest, to be transparent. Heaven forbid we actually said we were stressed.
Yeah.
Then we'd be out, right?
Yeah.
So I, for a long time, was like, I'm not showing that part of me. That's not happening. I shut down, and those of us that worked in that, we shut down that. So being around people like y'all, it's really better to me because I didn't think that was possible to have a group of people that you work with that you can really be yourself.
Yeah.
And I've done a lot of self-work over that over the past year or two. Like, I can really, who am I?
Yeah.
Like, am I a CEO? No, I'm a grandma now. So, wow, I can share that with people, and that's really cool. So I appreciate your transparency, but that's part of the self-care too, is feeling comfortable. Personally, I go thrift shopping by myself. Don't come with me.
You know what?
Do not come with my husband. Cannot come with me.
Oh, yeah.
No, nobody. Just me, because I want to get lost in all this stuff
It's
and
a
find the best
meditative
deal possible.
exercise.
There you go.
I fully understand.
And Bucky's too. Bucky's too. But
Yeah.
thrift shopping. So there you go.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with what you said. Like the companies that we may work for. So the last company that I worked for, they got 37 different facilities all over the U.S. and yeah, it's a beast. I choose me first. I had to really pray about that situation. I'm glad you brought that up because that's it's the pressure cooker. You're in that pressure cooker. You got corporate above you. You're just a number. And I'm an honest person. It ain't about the dollar signs. It's about getting that human being in that door. At the end of the day, it's about getting the human being in the door. So we had a great team though. We stuck together the same way that we're doing right here. We kept a tight knit with each other. We'll check on each other. Do just a check-in call. Hey, I'm just calling to check in on you. How you doing? You okay? What can I do? You need some help? So it was kind of those small little things. And then it makes you feel good. I don't know. It makes me feel good.
Yeah.
Anything to make me feel good, I'm trying to grab it. Just give it to me. I want it. I'm glad you brought that up.
I was gonna say it is
The
just
other
funny.
thing about Brandon is he's good at saying prayer. Could you maybe end us with a prayer for self-healing and
I can.
balance for us?
Absolutely.
Can I have one thing before we close out? Because you said multiple things that I was just like, amen. But in my dotage, I have found that I need a specific balance of things, multiple things.
Yes, sir.
I need to go to work.
Yeah.
I need to work with people, and I need to do what I do for a living. It's very much a part of who I am,
Yeah.
and I wouldn't want to do anything else.
Yeah.
And I love it. It helps others, and it brings me great joy and gratitude. But it comes at a cost, and I have a family.
Yeah.
And so I also have to stop what I'm doing and go home and engage with my family wholeheartedly, not half-heartedly looking at emails on my phone and all that. I have to stop and be the husband to my wife and, help, and I cook and I do dishes and I do groceries, I do everything. Not everything, but I'm willing to do everything.
Yeah.
I do everything.
I'm willing to do everything.
Availability is key.
Yeah, she has a full-time partner, right?
Yeah.
Not a part-time guy who just shows up and sleeps.
Yeah.
But then for my own, there's my personal recovery, which God willing will last another 24 years. but also my faith, which is outside of my recovery, right? Like I have to spend time. I'm Jewish, so every week, like I try to go to services. I don't go every week, but I observe Shabbat, and which is a day of rest, and I unplug, and I don't really take phone calls unless they are true emergencies, right? And that is important. And then, speaking to what Andre asked, like there's things I do where I can find a sense of flow, things I do just for me that can't involve anybody else, right? And for me, a lot of times it's artwork and drawing and writing, but finding that sense of flow at least once or twice a week gets me out of my own head. And do y'all know what I'm talking about when I'm talking about sense of flow?
Oh, yeah.
And get in the zone. It's really that. There's a lot of data that shows that we need that. We require it to be healthy. And if we do it once or twice a week, we actually feel more connected to the people around us. It's sort of counterintuitive, right? Because we zone out, but then when we're back, then we realize that we feel refreshed and we feel more connected to everyone else. So I wanted to add that one thing because I think that gets lost. Yeah, and it is about balance.
You're not coming thrift shopping.
Oh no, we can
That's why he finds a
we can
separate
call
flow.
each other.
We get in flow together
And,
somehow.
right, it'll be parallel play.
Yeah.
You take one end of town, I'll take the other, and then we can swap.
I'd like to share something. My wife and I, we got married after 2 weeks of being together because we made a decision of I do live by God's rules and not my own anymore. And so, you know, as a marriage, growing together becomes not just you were talking about the business and the corporate field and that aspect. My wife and I, we don't really have that no more. We've kind of eliminated that to where it's us and God. But what we do have is we have this pressure from the world that you're all talking about, is that the world wants us to not be together. And we work together. Some of our best times come from seeing success in other people's lives. So I think that balance that my first counselor taught me about was learning what that balance meant to me and to her, and incorporating that in the marriage that we celebrated in this month on the 13th, our 10th anniversary. So yes, it is an amazing thing because we pour ourselves into ourselves. We'll take time and just at the end of the day, after we've had a hard day, we just say, babe, you want to go run? And we'll go run, and then we'll eat honey buns and snacks.
That's the reward from running.
That's the only way we do it. It's
We
because
still-
we can eat like that.
We still do the things to increase our marriage while participating. We incorporate a marriage and still be married to the community that we're here to serve. The service is the hugest part of our program. Service, recovery, and unity. And we're here in unity, and we're here because of recovery, and service brought us 5 hours here. So the whole point of our marriage is to be of maximum service to God and to His people. So, you know, we're here and just so grateful that y'all have given us an insight to what it looks like to speak to a group of, you know, individuals who are not on the other side. You know, and you say other side, what does that mean? That means, you know, someone who's in the facility. I mean, I can relate to them really, really easily, really, really quickly. I can grab their attention, but sometimes, you know, being normies now, we don't understand with tattoos on our face how to fit in this kind of setting. And I think that we prayed, me and my wife, we really commit to prayer, even if it's a lash prayer. I'm lashing at her and she's lashing at me. We're still praying about it, and we get through it. And what we asked God whenever we came in here was, God, show us why you want us to sit in a room full of people that we don't feel like we fit in with. And here we are. Is that we understand that you aren't no different. Your life isn't no different.
You fit.
Everyone.
You fit, bro.
We are
just
the
look
same.
like this. Everybody got a story.
Yep.
You fit. You fit, bro.
All right. Thank
Take
you
that
very
with
much,
prayer.
everybody. So, is there anybody else would like to speak comment or something that is has been left unsaid that is sitting in your heart that needs to be said? Anybody?
Me.
You, yes.
It's been very, being blessed, a blessing day for me today, listening to you. Em have always told me that I need to stop. I need to take care of myself. A monk told me that same thing. Listening to you is like an open eyes. We all need self-care. We all need to take care of our energy. So we are Reiki healers. Em is amazing. As I'm been sitting here, I can sense everyone's energy field. I can sense a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety. I can sense, like the baggage that you all carrying. So I just want to say, we are all here for each other. We are healers. You are welcome to grab our phones and, it's like a massage therapy,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It just calms you down, calms all your stress, it calms all your baggage. So if you want to have that moment of, releasing from all the baggage, from all the stress or anxiety, we are here for you. You don't need to pay. Or you can pay it if you want. But we are here for you guys. Okay?
Yeah, we do have a healing hub once a month here at Positive Recovery Center. I believe the next one is September the 21st. It is a Sunday afternoon, 2 to 5. I do also have a special event coming up on September the 28th. It's also a Sunday. It's going to be from 4 to 6 p.m. It's going to be at the Sugarland Town Center area at a spa called Glow Sun Spa and Sev Laser. They do laser hair removal. Anyway, those two places are hosting my, party. My birthday is on the 27th of September, not that I really care about that, but I'm using that as a way to bring people together. And the thing about the spa is that if you attend, I will be doing a demonstration on the work that I do, which by the way applies very much to what you all do. Like he was talking about boundaries, how about if I tell you that you can feel those boundaries tangibly? Okay, so that's one thing, that's my specialty. Anyway, and another thing is that if you come, you will get free spa services, so you get to try that out. And yeah, so, and I'm also, so this is part of self-care. Like he goes for massages, right? So all of these things are available. Why is it that people who are taking care of other people are so bad at giving themselves these kinds of treats, right? So let's change that. So I'm all about connecting people. I am a hub for many different demographics and networking circles and this, that, and the other. Please make sure you connect with me, especially if you want to grow your network. And I do this just completely out of passion, okay? Because, well, you know what my drive is, right? So every single person is precious, okay? So every life that is lost by suicide, which is preventable, that's it hurts. Anyway, so yeah, so I guess now please feel free to eat. We really didn't expect this to be such a full house.
You want me to pray?
Yes.
Yes. Hang on. So we didn't expect this to be a full house, but as you can see, we have a full house. I said that there were just going to be 12 people because this, most people do not RSVP, but please try to RSVP. And we are doing this every other month, but we might do it every month. We shall see. September is Suicide Prevention Awareness Month. I might do something for that. Separate from my September 28th thing. we shall see. All right, so I'll keep you all posted, and also if you sign in, you can get CEUs for today's meeting, right? For those of you who need CEUs, all right? So any last comments or anything? No? Yes.
I just want to thank you, Brandon, for sharing your story. You know, it's inspiring, and you know, when I sit there and I look back at, you know, my life, some of the things that were said about how we let our corporations, you know, control our lives. You know, I lost my dad. I was doing timesheets. I was working for UHS. Never forget that day. It was on Monday. And recently, about 11 months ago, I lost my mom. I was on a plane to give a speech in Oregon. And, you know, it's at that moment that I realized that two of the most important people in my life, you know, I was working during that time. And I needed to reflect and say, hey, well, you know what, your friends and family, you know, you need to focus on them. Because life is short and it's precious, and you know, you get so involved. You know, like I said, this is all I know. So, you know, I take the 11 p.m. and the 2 a.m. phone calls and say, hey, well, you know what, I need to get into a psych hospital or in treatment or what have you. And, you know, like, I was listening to you intently, and I was like, well, you know what, maybe I need to refocus and say, okay, at 7 p.m., that's when it shuts off. Because, you know, life is short. You know, we're around the same age, and you know, I reflect back, it's like, you know, I've worked more than anything else in my life. So.
My husband says you're not 911.
Yeah, exactly.
I
Exactly.
kind of am, but okay.
So I just want to say thank you.
All right. Okay.
Y'all wanna circle? Y'all wanna do this deal? Let's do it. I don't know.
I suppose we don't have to. I'm spiritual care network for us.
Alright, bow your heads. Moment of silence. Dear Heavenly Father, when we come to you today, to first off say thank you. Thank you for this beautiful day that you woke us up with, the beautiful blessings that we get to see every day. Thank you for this group of people, all of us being together, you know, working in the professional world, in recovery and mental health. Thank you for letting us come together and sharing open about the self-care and who we are. Father, I just want to ask you, you know, as we leave and, you know, go our separate ways, that you place your hand over us and continue to help us, give us guidance to do your work and your will. Father, I want to ask you to bless the meal that we're fixing to receive. We thank you. We thank you for everything that you continue to bless us with. In your heavenly name I pray, amen.
We can do a photo?
Yeah, let's go.